Imagine living in a world where the weather controls everything. Your survival depends on knowing the land, knowing where animals move, knowing where water can be found, knowing which plants can keep your family alive. There is no supermarket, no stored food waiting in your home, no warm house with sealed windows, no way to check tomorrow's forecast. Then, one morning, the sky changes. The clouds become darker, the wind becomes colder, and rain begins falling. At first, nobody worries. Rain has always been part of life. But then, hours pass. The ground becomes soaked. The paths disappear. The rivers begin rising, and the rain keeps coming. 1 day becomes 2. 2 days become 5. Food becomes harder to find. Fire becomes harder to protect. Shelters become harder to maintain. But something unexpected begins happening. The storm that was threatening your survival starts forcing your species to become more intelligent, because humans did not survive the ancient world by controlling nature. They survived by adapting when nature changed. Day 1. When the land becomes unusable. For early humans, the environment was a map. Every mark on the ground meant something. A broken branch could reveal an animal had passed. A footprint could show the direction of a herd. The landscape was full of information, but heavy rain erased that information. Water filled tracks, mud covered paths. Small streams became dangerous barriers. A journey that was safe yesterday could become deadly today. This created a difficult choice. Should the group continue searching for food, or should they stay protected until conditions improve? Hunter-gatherers survived because they understood something important. Sometimes the smartest decision is not moving forward. It is waiting. Archaeological evidence shows early humans carefully selected shelters near resources such as water, animals, and plant foods. These locations were not random. They were survival strategies. And during extreme weather, these shelters became more than places to hide. They became the center of human life. Day 2. When food starts changing. After 2 days of rain, the problem becomes clear. The usual routine is broken. Large animals are difficult to track. Travel becomes risky. The food gathered before the storm begins disappearing. But rain does something fascinating. The same rainfall that makes hunting difficult can create new opportunities. Soft ground makes digging easier. Certain plants grow rapidly. Underground roots become accessible. Insects become more active. Small animals change their movement patterns. Human survival depended on flexibility. Unlike many predators, humans were not specialists. They could hunt, gather plants, collect shellfish, use insects as food, process different resources depending on the environment. This ability to change strategies was one of humanity's greatest advantages. A storm could take away one opportunity, but a clever group could find another. Day 3. The flame that could not die. By the 3rd day, something inside the shelter becomes more valuable than almost anything else. The fire. To modern humans, fire is convenient. To early humans, fire was a lifeline. It provided warmth during cold nights. It allowed food to be cooked. It created light after sunset. It helped protect groups from dangerous animals. But keeping fire alive during continuous rain was a difficult skill. Wet wood does not burn easily. Strong winds can destroy flames. A single mistake could leave an entire group without warmth. Archaeological discoveries show humans invested enormous effort into managing fire. They selected fuel carefully, protected hearths, and transported burning material when necessary. Fire was not just something humans used, it was something humans depended on. And protecting it required cooperation. Someone had to collect fuel. Someone had to maintain the flames. Someone had to make sure the group's most valuable resource survived the night. Day 4. The hidden dangers of a wet world. Rain creates another problem that early humans understood very well. Everything becomes crowded. Humans are not the only animals searching for protection. Predators avoid storms. Prey animals seek shelter. Every creature is looking for the same things: dry ground, safety, warmth, a protected space. Archaeological sites show that humans sometimes shared landscapes with dangerous predators. Caves and rock shelters contain evidence of both human occupation and large carnivores. The storm changes the balance. Animals that normally stay separated can suddenly come closer together. But humans had one advantage. They could work together. They could warn each other. They could organize. And this cooperation became one of humanity's strongest survival tools. Day 5. The storm becomes a workshop. By the 5th day, something surprising happens. The rain creates something humans rarely had in the ancient world. When the weather was good, survival demanded action. Finding food, following animals, moving camps. But when the storm trapped people inside, they created. Archaeological sites reveal that shelters were not just places where humans waited. They were places where humans produced. Stone tools were shaped. Animal materials were processed. Pigments were prepared. Clothing and equipment were repaired. At Blombos Cave in South Africa, researchers discovered evidence of complex ochre processing from around 100,000 years ago. This suggests humans were not simply surviving. They were planning, creating, thinking ahead. A storm may have stopped movement, but it did not stop progress. When the storm finally ended, eventually the clouds disappeared. The rain stopped. The rivers slowed. The land began drying. The world outside became available again. But the humans who walked out were not exactly the same. The storm had forced them to adapt. They had protected their fire, changed their food strategies, improved their tools, strengthened their cooperation. The rain was challenge that rewarded creativity. And maybe that is one of the biggest secrets of human survival. We were not the strongest animals on Earth. We were not the fastest. We were not the most dangerous. But when the world changed, we changed with it. And every storm that humanity survived made us better prepared for the next one.